mindfulness is a thing. It's a great thing, a life-saving thing sometimes, but it can be a bit up itself and use language which is sometimes hard to get into. But artist, illustrator and author Lucy Irving delivers mindfulness with colour and wit, with playfulness and complete daftness in her illustrations, which is hopeful reminders to stay present to the everyday joys and sorrows of being human that are familiar to all of us, particularly in lockdown. I love talking about creativity because we are all creative, and our capacity to follow our flow wherever and however we do it is a wonderful way of having a happy inside life. I first came across Lucy's work on Instagram, where she's at like literally Lucy, and I was blown away by the sheer joyful daftness. So really, I kind of stalked her and eventually she said yes to a pod chat, and we had this delicious conversation about creativity and mindfulness and how together they can make us happier. So, hello, Lucy.
Hello.
You're gonna have to excuse me because I'm a bit snoozy today, because I didn't sleep very well. So I'm a bit dreamy and a bit slow.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I had quite a bad night's sleep. But yeah, let's do it. Let's be dreamy and
Well,
be who we are.
Exactly, because actually both our work is about anything. It's about being with what is and being who we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we showed up pretending to be little bright sprightly bunnies, it would be a bit of a big fat lie, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. And I think I do try to bring that into my work, that kind of sense of whatever is, you know, it's not perfect. My drawings are definitely not perfect.
What's a perfect drawing?
I know, I was just about to say that.
I don't want to look at a perfect drawing. It's just boring.
Well, you see these, beautiful, photorealistic, fantastic hours and hours spent on, and I'm just in awe of them. I'm in awe of people's creativity. It's just incredible what people do.
Well, I think that what you do is pretty incredible, which is why I wanted to talk to you. So maybe I could say, for people who are listening who haven't quite got to like literally Lucy on Instagram yet, but they will do very soon, what your stuff is like. And it's about mindfulness.
Yeah.
But mindfulness can be a bit up itself sometimes. And your drawings are colourful and delightful and funny, and they bring a sort of lightness of spirit and joy, I think, when I look at them. And that's just so witty.
Thank you.
So I've got one here because I wanted to say, so it says, "Do you want to break free?" And there's some arms trying to break out of a box. And I looked at that and I went, yes, Lucy, I do. And then underneath you've put, "Do you feel?" I don't like remember a fleshy meat sack that's trapped in a box. Yes, Lucy, yes, I do. Change is scary. Oh, yes, it is. So sometimes it seems like too much effort to break free, but something really cool is waiting patiently for you on the other side.
Oh, wow.
Reading
so that back to me, I've forgotten I've written that.
But isn't that sweet and lovely?
I'm glad you think so.
Yeah, I consistently find them really touching, and there's lightness. So I wanted to ask you about how you sort of came upon this style.
I think I've been interested in, I've been practicing mindfulness for a really long time, and it's really helped me. And I think throughout lockdown, I kind of wanted to bring more of that into my work. And I think just to help people. I think people are feeling very stuck and down and fearful at the moment, with what's going on in the world, and it is quite terrifying. So I just kind of wanted to help in a way with my drawings and my words, and so I just started writing down little things that came to me, maybe when I've been listening to something, or even in the shower, whatever, coming out the shower, writing stuff down and coming up with these drawings, these series of drawings, and then just writing bits to go along with them, really. And yeah, the ideas for them can come from anywhere, can come from podcasts I listen to, or books, or sometimes they just ping out of nowhere. Often they ping out of nowhere. And I think my process is generally for any of my work is to catch stuff when it comes, because people sometimes say to me about with ideas, how do you come up with that idea? And I'm just like, oh, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I think I just grab them out of the air and then make them into something and then let them go again. It's kind of that process of you're kind of grabbing something, then you do something with it, make something better, kind of use all of your skills to kind of refine it and chisel it and mold it in a way, and then you have to let it go again. You have to put it out there and see what people think of it, and it's not necessarily something that you can cling on to anymore after that. I think you've got it for a little bit, haven't you? And then you can play with it, and then you can be like, oof.
There's so much in that. Grab it, use your skills. It's like, but I've got a big butt going on there.
Oh, exciting.
I've got a big butt going on there. I mean,
what's your butt?
My butt is that the first God, I'm digging myself into holes here. My first butt is about the what's the word? Creating the right environment and the delicacy of being able to catch.
Yeah.
So
definitely being the
quiet mind. You got to notice. You got to notice the little fluttery things.
That's it. You have to. And also, I think people are hypercritical of themselves and their ideas. So, and it's kind of like they're these little. I think of them as these little creatures that come and visit you, maybe for a bit. So, but you have to
draw them, please.
You have.
Could you draw one for me? Maybe I'm going to draw one for myself. I'd love to.
You have to be kind, but you have to be kind to them and invite them in. And because even if you have like one of them that's a bit misshapen and a bit weird, and you go, oh, that's ridiculous, and you dismiss it, even if you do that with one of them, then it tells all the others, and then they don't come anymore. So.
That's interesting. So what do you mean by mistreated?
I mean kind of being hypercritical, I suppose, of yourself. And, you know, something pops into your head and you're like, oh, that's such a ridiculous idea. And you dismiss it straight away without kind of properly looking at it. Because there might be something in there that's valuable that you can use and that you can change slightly, or you can flip on its head. But if you dismiss that, especially at the beginning of a project or the beginning of something where you're kind of trying to grab these little sparks, if you're not kind to every single one of them, I feel like it stops that kind of flow, that creative flow that you need to encourage.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It really makes sense, particularly in my work. I use a seasonal framework. So the catching part is a spring thing. It's about exploration and allowing things to land and allowing things to come to you and exploring what they are. And if the critic gets in the springtime, you're stuffed basically for the rest of that cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. And creativity is a cycle, isn't it? You know,
absolutely, yeah.
You're kind of grabbing, doing stuff with it, letting it go, then crying, and
yeah.
if you don't get enough likes or whatever.
Oh, well, that's another thing, because, you know, these days we make stuff and then the letting go includes putting it out there.
It does. It does, yeah.
And it changes from, well, we make things hopefully for our own validation and for our own satisfaction.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then we go out there and it gets quantified numerically by how many times somebody clicks it.
It does, yeah. How do I deal with that? I think I very much, you know, as you say, make sure I'm totally grounded, totally happy with it, and okay to let it go, no matter what, how many likes, no matter, you know, if someone says something horrible about it, I'm ready for that. And also to realize that it's not me, it's not part of me, it's not part of my being, it's something else, it's something I created, but I don't need to cling on to it and own it and make it so it's a complete reflection of who I am. That piece of work does not define me as a being. And I think that's quite easy with creative stuff to fall into that trap, because you put so much heart into everything you do, and you love it so much when you're kind of doing it, don't you? When you're painting a picture or whatever you're doing, whatever you're making, it's this beautiful process. And then when you let it go, in whatever way you let it go, it can be hard, but you have to I think you do have to go through that process with okay, this is done now, and that's not me, right? What's next? And I think having something next as well is quite good. What's next? What's next? Back into the cycle of creation. I think if you just, you know, some people might have this one piece that they think, right, this is it, this is my thing, this is my one thing that's going to define me, that's going to make my make my career or whatever it is. And if it isn't that, then I think it can destroy some people. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And I think especially when you're, even if, because I personally believe that everyone is creative. Like one of the first things you do as a child, and you're encouraged to do, is make art, isn't it? That's the first thing. You're given a pencil and a paintbrush, and you're putting paint all over the walls, and then someone's shouting at you, and but yeah, you're encouraged to create. And then I think a lot of people kind of lose that playfulness, that joy, as they get older, because they see it as quite a childish thing. And I think it's so important to cling on to it and bring it back into your life, no matter what age you are. Bring it back, and it will enrich your life in so many ways.
Have you ever been blocked? Have you ever had periods in your life where you just got stuck?
I have been stuck, but I think that's at the point of, if we're talking about cycles, sort of at the end of something, and I'm sort of dragging it out, maybe making more work in a series that maybe I should have stopped and left behind and started something new. So I think that can be that can be a blockage. And it's sort of, noticing, trying to be really aware of when things are done and you should move on. I think that's really important. I'm quite lucky. I think other people do get really badly blocked, you know, writers, you know, you hear about writer's block and all sorts of things. And people with their work, definitely. But I generally, I'm quite lucky. My hand sort of, I don't know if this makes sense, but does its own thing, and I let it do its own thing on the page. So I'll just sketch, and something generally will come. And the other thing I do, if I am, I might have a day where I spend drawing and I'm not happy with any of the stuff, but that's okay. I make it so it's okay, and I can just get rid of that page, and it doesn't matter, and I'll just start again tomorrow and draw another page. So it's not a big deal. I'm not going to beat myself up that everything on that page wasn't good enough.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how we play with how tightly we hold on to goals as well. If you
absolutely,
if you think, well, I want to have a particular piece of work for this purpose, or that is going to go, be hung or shown in a particular place.
Yeah, the pressure.
You're probably guaranteed to fail. Because the pressure makes the process of moving pencil over paper or whatever your medium is just so tense. It knocks all the playfulness out of it.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. And so I think small goals that lead up to something bigger are good in a way. If you want to do
specific about that, what do you mean?
Oh God, I don't know, but I suppose it's with anything, if you're breaking something down into sort of sections, rather than being like, rather than saying I'm going to have a gallery show, you say I'm just going to start making work around this theme, and then see where that goes, rather than, this big goal. And if it doesn't work, around that theme, change the theme, and then if you're flowing into that theme, then you can make piece by piece by piece, and then you'll make enough for a show, and then you have the show, something like that. But there's that story, I can't remember where I heard it, where there's a student and a master, and I think it's probably Zen master, and the student says to the master, if I work really hard, how long will it take me to become enlightened? The master's like, 10 years. And then he's like, if I really, really work really hard, really, really, really like concentrate, work really, really hard, how long will it take me? 20 years. He's like, why have you added 10 years onto it? He's like, because you're having one eye on the goal and one eye on what you're doing, so then it will take twice as long.
That's such a good story.
I like that story. Have you heard that one before?
No, it's new to me. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
it's good. Yeah, it's good to kind of be very kind of aware of your goals, because they can be stifling, I think, definitely. I think I was just talking to someone the other day about how their partner had bought them this lovely blank canvas and how it's been sat there for months gathering dust. And I said, look, get yourself a sketchbook. There's no artist in the world who would go straight onto a canvas. They would always do sketches. They'd always get a sketchbook. They'd always play for a bit and then do the final piece. So it's so daunting, this beautiful fresh canvas.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah,
better dirty it up first and jump on it. My recent just like fabulous discovery is to buy notebooks with dots on.
Oh, okay, because then there's something on the page already.
Yeah,
that's a really good idea, actually. Fantastic.
And
top tip.
Doodle, and I can do whatever I like, but lines were too linear. No surprise there.
Surprise.
But the dots give just enough to kind of put me off.
Got ya. And you could even start joining them, and then something will come from the movement of your hand.
Yeah,
I think that's something that I really notice is, and you can see it when you watch children draw, that the lines that they create are just fantastic, because they've got this freedom to create that I think a lot of people have lost, where they kind of just let their hand go, and these kind of little flecks and bits, and it's just incredible. And that's something I try to kind of just be very loose when I'm drawing, very kind of and notice the bits of looseness that I really like as well, because you kind of, I think as you progress as an artist, I don't know if you, but you kind of notice the bit, it's just about noticing the bits that you like in your work and then doing more of them. And then you kind of develop this kind of sense of kind of knowing in your gut what is working, and then you keep doing more of that. It's kind of a building up of that, I think.
It almost sounds like a pleasure principle.
Pleasure principle.
Yeah, what feels good.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah,
what I like.
Yeah, it's I kind of think of it as sort of a knowing in your gut, a tingling. There's something there that I'm just like, oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, that works. I'll do more of that. Draw some more of those eyes.
It's a body. I mean, nearly everybody I've spoken to on this podcast series, which is, you know, it's kind of self-selecting because I like people who agree with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like most humans. But it is so self-selecting, but nearly everybody talks about their using the body as a resonator for knowing, for intuition.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's all we have, isn't it? Yeah, so yeah, just paying attention to the body, paying attention to how you feel when you're doing something, because, you know, drawing for me makes me so happy, and making work makes me so happy. I'm so happy when I'm doing it, and I think it's just because I'm so present, I'm so kind of in that moment doing it, and just the drawing part is just fantastic. And I think everyone feels like that when they draw. I really do. I don't think it's just me. I think every single person on this earth feels like that when they draw. They love, and it's just that kind of, you know, the critic that kind of stops you. You need it to go away.
So what do you do with your critics? How do you manage that?
Oh goodness. I think the drive to create is so, I don't know where it comes from, but it's so intense for me that the voices of the critics are very small. And also what I do is I'm quite good at changing. Like, so if something's not working and I've got that intuition of like, oh, or that feeling of in my gut, like, oh no, this isn't quite right, I'm quite good at changing and not sort of dwelling on that. So that stops that critic getting in, because I think the more you sort of dwell, the more it kind of, those voices sort of creep in, or you're not good enough, all this kind of, this is terrible, well look what you've done. Look at the mess you've made. And so I think just kind of putting, you know, like I said before about getting rid of that page, starting again.
So there's a flexibility in there as well. You know, I think we're talking a lot about letting go and holding on. You know, if it sounds like you're listening to your critic is saying,
I suppose so, in a way.
Well, that's not quite working. Well, I'll let it go and I'll move on to something.
Yeah, I let it say that's not quite working, but I don't let it go on.
Yeah, that's enough.
Shush now. You've done your work. Go away. Yeah, definitely. I think that's something I suppose I've cultivated as well. So that takes practice, because you're so vulnerable when you start making work, and you're so scared to put it out there just in case. And I think even just, it could be, if you're just starting out creating work, it could just take one comment that isn't necessarily a nasty comment from someone, but is a comment from someone who doesn't quite get what you're trying to do. And that can, I think, put someone off completely and just stop them from creating, because it is vulnerability, isn't it? You're making yourself so vulnerable when you're making work, and it's terrifying, but it's definitely worth it. I think just taking those steps, and also not taking, as I said before, not realizing that work doesn't define you. That piece of work or whatever you've done isn't you. You're so much more. You're this incredible being that can make so much more work. It's not that one thing isn't gonna be the thing that's the be all and end all. Do another piece, make something else, draw another picture, carry on, keep going, keeping going as well, keeping that momentum, keeping that cycle, I think is really important. Yeah.
Wow. See, now I'm feeling deep envy of your creativity. It's like
you have to get off this call and you have to go and make something.
Okay, that's it. Bye. Sorry, I got shit to do.
Yeah. I hope everyone does go and make something after they've listened to this.
Yeah, that's your task, people. Go make something.
Yeah, go make something. Go draw a picture. Send it to me, or send it to Kate.
Yeah,
we want to see what you've drawn.
Yeah, we can do that. We can share it. Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Please draw something. Whatever you want, whatever inspires you today.
What does your mindfulness practice look like? I mean, it sounds like your drawing is a mindful process.
Oh, absolutely. And I think my practice isn't super formal.
So you don't sit on a cushion?
No, I don't sit on a cushion. I mean, I will spend time being quiet at times, but generally I try to do it all the time as much as I can. So it will be constant, sort of throughout the day. I'm constantly bringing myself back here and not letting my thoughts sort of run away, because I've, when they do that, I do find myself being very irritable and not a very nice person. And I think it's great to meditate. I think it's fantastic. I think it's an important practice for some people, and it's something I'd like to do more of. But I think lots of us don't have loads of time, and we're trying to get lots of things done. But I think you can just do it all the time, though. I think you can just bring yourself back to this moment, and then when you need to think, when you need to use your mind, when you need to come up with some ideas, it'll be fresher, it'll be ready to work, rather than being kind of overworked all the time. Oh God, I've got to do this, and you're just kind of, I am anyway. I can get into this state where I'm just so in there and mulling over ideas, and I don't need to go over and over and over and over things. That's not something you need to be doing. And it just becomes this kind of massive thing, and just bring yourself back, like,
when you say bringing yourself back, what are you doing exactly?
So what I'm doing next is going,
what are you doing?
It's going no, it's just sort of I'm going through a wormhole coming back into the present. I'm sucking myself. Yeah, it's and it does feel like that, because you're in there, you're in your mind, and it's so in there, and it's all busy, and then I'm back here. Oh look, I'm here. I'm sat here. I can feel my body. I can hear these sounds. I can notice everything.
There's the visual component there as well.
It's visual. It's kind of auditory. Just noticing everything, and just being glad to be here, and not be in my mind anymore. Oh goodness, I'm not there anymore. That's nice. And yeah, just trying to keep that as much as possible. Touch. Noticing how that feels when you're moving around, when you're sat there, using all your senses, I suppose. And yeah, just trying to do that as much as possible. Just beginning again, and not being annoyed with myself when I get stuck in my mind as well. I think that's important. And just keep doing that as much as I can. And sometimes, you know, I might get lost for a day, just being there for a day in my mind, thinking of all sorts of ideas. But it's made me so much happier to be mindful and kind of really present as much as possible. And I feel a bit, well, you're wasting your time here on this planet if you're not doing that, if you're not here right now looking at everything. And once you start looking at stuff as well, you're like, this is amazing, I'm here, this is so cool, isn't it? Like, I just look at water.
Did a drawing about that recently, didn't you? Yes.
Oh,
there's another.
Which one?
I've done my research this morning, unusually for me. It's beautiful. It says, when you look closely, no moment is boring. And there's a pair of sort of eyes going, they look like your eyes. They've got very good eyeliner on them.
Oh, thank you.
Especially for you. This moment is magical when you examine it with your magical eyes, ears, nose, mouth and fingers. Squidgy it and stroke it, sniff it, lick it and poke it. It's all there for you. You just need to pay attention.
Yeah, definitely.
So yes, I don't know what Zoom smells of, but we will find out. But I thought that was so beautiful. I thought so beautiful and so visceral as well, you know.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I sometimes, I mean, you read that stuff back to me again, and I've obviously written it and let it go. I don't remember writing it.
What's it like hearing it back? It's
funny, isn't it? Sorry?
What's it like hearing it back?
Oh, I like it. So that's good.
Yay! So I didn't tell you I was going to do that, but I was just cruising this morning, just kind of tuning in.
Yeah.
Looking at your things, and I thought, God, people need to hear this stuff to get what you do.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's again, I think I just I do the drawings first, and then I'll do a bunch of the drawings, and then the writing bit for the post I'll do afterwards. So I kind of re-examine them with a freshness, and then just write whatever sort of comes. And it's quite fast, that process. But I do have to be quiet before I do it. Okay. I do have to kind of come back and just be still, and then something will come. Generally, I think I'm quite lucky in terms of, you know, we were speaking about being blocked before. I think I am quite lucky in the methods that I've managed to cultivate, I suppose, which have allowed me to not be blocked so much. But I think anyone can do that. I really do. I think it's just practice, and it's just cultivating them. That's it. Yeah,
finding practices, ways of being that allow this creative energy to flow, I think is
and whatever works for you. You know, if you want to jump up and down before you do anything, or if you want to go for a run and then come back and draw, or if you need to talk to someone before you do it, sometimes that sparks ideas. Or look on the internet, or look on Pinterest.
You'll be lost for hours.
God, yeah.
That's a wormhole.
It is definitely a wormhole. I've been on it for 5 hours, stuck on Pinterest.
How does this feed into your? Because you have a like a job.
Yeah, so I do. Well. I do graphic design, but I do illustration as well in my work. I suppose it's the same sort of process, really, in terms of creativity. It's just a different method. So I enjoy doing both those things, designing and illustrating, and sometimes they're kind of, I do them at the same time. Yeah, there's not really, I suppose I'm more free, and it's more of my own work that I'm sharing on Instagram. And it's just, you know, some of it's just a bit mad, really, isn't it? And a bit weird, and and you can't do that necessarily for if you're working for the NHS doing a
no, but you bloody should. God, wouldn't that be great? Everybody would be so much happier. So much happier.
I try and, you know, I do a bit of illustration for them, so I do that, you know, there's some fun bits. But yeah, generally it's you have to tone yourself down, and yeah, which I don't mind. I think it's a useful exercise, and it's nice to have a balance, I think, of both, doing both those things. And client work, you often do have to compromise with, but you're kind of working with that person. It's not just you. So it's just working in a team rather than to create something, rather than doing it on your own. Whereas the stuff I do on my own, yeah, completely free, bonkers, whatever. Write whatever, draw whatever. But yeah, and try to connect with as many people as possible as well, I think. Yeah.
Yes, because it's clear from looking at your work and the bits that I've read that they're deeply connected and communicative. You know, it's not about your own process. It's about, as you said at the beginning, wanting to support people to be happier.
Definitely, yeah, and yeah, not have that, as you said about my work at the beginning as well. I'm really trying not to be pretentious or kind of righteous. You know, this is the
language. I've just realised the language is very accessible, because there's a lot of language around mindfulness that can be quite exclusionary, can't it?
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, in terms that people might not have heard of, and then, you know, immediately that makes someone feel stupid. If there's a word they don't understand, it pushes them back from your work. It makes a proof. And yeah, I try my best not to be like that. I want it to be accessible. I want to help. I want to inspire, and yeah, just kind of make it as an open connection, I suppose. Yeah, and I think some other stuff out there, as you say, can be quite exclusionary, I suppose. Yeah, so yeah, just trying to be open with people and have fun with it. Be silly, you know. We've got to laugh at ourselves, haven't we? And humor is great at connecting people, I think, as well. So, yeah.
So can you give me a little tip for somebody to improve their inner life?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this the other day, and it is something that we've already covered, but just, I think, committing to just this moment, I think, is so important. And it's something I've said, obviously, during this chat, but I was, you know, it's so easy to get caught up in those thoughts of oh God, now I have to do this, and I've got no time, and I wish you hadn't done that. So, you know, I was thinking about this when my dog came in the other day, and he was covered in poo. He likes to roll in poo, and he goes on this dog walk once a week, and he always comes back, well, pretty much always comes back covered in poo. And that day I was particularly busy, and he came back, and I was like, oh. So I was like, have to give him a wash. So I put him in the bath. I'm like, I wish you hadn't done this. I wish you haven't got any time. I've got to get on with my work, and I just wish you hadn't done this. And then I stopped and came back through the wormhole and looked at him, and he's shivering in the bath, poor little thing. And I was like, oh no. I'm not being efficient with washing you. I'm not paying attention to you and getting this done quickly so I can get on with things, because I'm so caught up in wishing you hadn't done it in the past and thinking about the future things that I have to do. So
thank you, because you've given me a language for the nonsense that goes on in my head. It's a pooey dog moment.
It's a pooey dog moment. And you know,
probably so a pooey dog day, quite possibly, given my head.
So yeah, I washed him, and we did an efficient job when I came back here through the wormhole, and got him out, and he's, you know, he still shook all over me, and then I was back in there. But no, come back. So that's something really, I think, trying to not, I think mindfulness can be just thought of as doing some meditation, but I think trying to do it all the time, as much as you can in daily life, and just bringing yourself back and committing to doing that, I think is my tip.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you, Lucy, for your insight all the insights into creativity, and I mean, loads of stuff there for me to explore about noticing. I'm very interested in noticing the catching and the processing and the letting go. I think that fits with my seasonal view very well. I think I will be observing this more carefully.
Great.
When I get stuck.
Yeah, with the cycle of it, where you're getting stuck at those points, I think. Yeah.
And loads of other stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, Lucy is so inspiring. Before you get your sketchbooks out and your pens and start scribbling away, having a good time, check out Lucy's website, and that's also literallylucy.com. And as well as some beautiful prints and all kinds of stuff, there are her 2 brilliant journals, Creative Space and Exercise Your Demons, that you'll find there, and also t-shirts and all kinds of stuff. And you'll find her on Instagram and Faceache and TikTok at literallylucy. So do go and check her out, because her illustrations and her words are just so joyful. I'd just love to see what you create. Please share them with me at Kate_Codrington at Instagram. I can share them on my stories. It's just beautiful to see what you get up to. And if you've enjoyed this adventure in playful mindfulness, it would be fabulous if you could share it with a friend, maybe, who could benefit, or even leave a review and tell other people what it's like. And don't forget to join me very soon for another extraordinary voyage into the inside world.